10 roads you would never want to drive on. Falling rocks, dizzying heights, and guys with guns searching for their next victim. These are just some of the reasons you'll want to avoid driving on the roads that are featured in this list. You're watching Lightside. Please remember to like and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this one in the future. Here are 10 roads you would never want to drive on. Number 10. Atlantic Ocean Road, Norway. At number 10 is the Atlantic Ocean Road in Norway. This 5.2 mile length of road runs across a series of small islands, hovering for long stretches above the open seas. Storms and heavy winds mean that cars are often pelted with water and forced to drive through hazardous conditions. The road was hit by no less than 12 windstorms while it was being constructed in the 1980s. The prospect of being swept into sea gets even more intense at one point, when the road curves and elevates or drops, depending on your direction of travel. At that stage, drivers just have to pray a huge wave doesn't have their name on it. Number 9. Halsema Highway, Philippines. Our next entry is Halsema Highway in the Philippines. It spans 93.2 miles over mountainous terrain, reaching a high point of 7,400 feet above sea level. Landslides are common, with huge boulders that come tumbling down from above. The area is prone to heavy rainfall, especially during monsoon season, which can make roads super slippery. Add to that mist and foggy conditions which make it difficult to see, and you wonder why anyone would even think about attempting to drive this route. Unfortunately, there's no other choice for farmers and civilians who live in the mountain villages. Number 8. James Dalton Highway in northern Alaska. At number 8 is the very cold and very isolated James Dalton Highway in Alaska. You do not want to suffer a breakdown on this road. There are only 3 small towns along this 414-mile highway, aptly named Coldfoot, Wiseman, and Deadhorse. They have a total permanent population of less than 60 people, so good luck finding a mechanic if your engine fails here. During one stretch, you will not find any hospitals, gas stations, restaurants, or hotels for 240 miles. The road is mostly unpaved, and even most ice road truckers refuse to tackle the route in the winter. The icy conditions make it too unsafe. Oh, and there's also the chance you could get caught in an avalanche. Number 7. Karakoram Highway in Pakistan. Up next is the Karakoram Highway that runs from Pakistan to China and covers a distance of around 810 miles. Drivers on this road will need to overcome very rough conditions as they make their way through the most mountainous region on the planet. The route follows some of the old Silk Road and reaches a maximum altitude of 15,466 feet above sea level. Some people refer to the highway as the 8th wonder of the world, while others just wonder how you're supposed to survive it. Among many of its hazards are rockfalls, landslides, flooding, reckless drivers, herds of animals, and horrendous weather. Number 6. Tiananmen Mountain Road in China. Now let's take a look at a peculiar entry from China, sometimes referred to as the 99 Bend Road to Heaven. This 6.8 mile road twists and turns through Tiananmen Mountain National Park. As its unofficial name suggests, it features 99 hair-point bends, and one mistake could send you soaring through the skies and straight into the afterlife. With such tight turns, thousands of feet above sea level, drivers must maintain their concentration and navigate through the endless bends, while watching out for oncoming traffic and trying not to look down at the sheer drops below. Little more than a foot-high stone wall separates you from the edge in some places. Driving in bad weather, as well as the threat of earthquakes in this region, ramp up the fear factor. This is one for adrenaline junkies and those with nerves of steel. Number 5. BR-166 in Brazil. Entering the top 5 is the BR-166 road in Brazil. Nicknamed the Highway of Death, it runs parallel to Brazil's coastline and is the longest highway in the country. Thousands of drivers are killed each year on this road. A combination of poor maintenance and bad weather leads to flooding, potholes, and car crashes. In addition to reckless drivers, what makes this highway particularly scary are the violent bandits who often prey on it. Law-abiding citizens in some areas try to avoid this notorious stretch of road at all costs. It is plagued by reports of murder, kidnapping, robberies, and prostitution. Drivers must keep their wits about them at all times or risk becoming a victim, if not of the road, then the people around them. Number 4. Guilin Tunnel Road, China. We're back in China for the number 4 spot. The Guilin Tunnel Road was allegedly built by 13 villagers who carved the 4,000-foot-long, 0.75 miles, tunnel into the side of China's Taihing Mountains during the 1970s. They mostly used hammers and chisels to complete the work, progressing at a rate of about 3 feet per day at the most difficult stages. Construction finished in 1977, 5 years after the plans for the tunnel were put in motion. What makes the drive so scary is the fact that the dark tunnel lacks barriers and street lamps, so drivers must enter at their own risk. Adding to this is the fact that it's only 16 feet tall and 13 feet wide, leaving barely enough room for two cars to pass by each other. In the open sections, one wrong move could cause someone to plummet hundreds of feet off the cliff edge. Driving in the rain or fog is particularly dangerous. Rockfalls and mudslides have been known to occur too. Despite all of this, tourists still flock to the area. Some are brave enough to attempt the drive, but most just like to take in the scenery. The tunnel brings many visitors to the village and helps to boost the local economy. It has even been featured as a movie location. Locals refer to it as the road that does not tolerate mistakes. We're sure it sounds much catchier in Chinese though. Number 3. Kabul-Jalalabad Road, Afghanistan. Breaking into the top 3 is the road from Kabul to Jalalabad, sometimes known as National Highway 8 in Afghanistan. Driving along this road includes all the elements that'll make the hairs on the back of your neck stand to attention. In addition to the winding mountain roads with steep drops and drivers who are known to drive erratically, the highway is also a target of terrorist attacks that include kidnappings and suicide bombings. The narrow 2-lane road does not stop drivers from zooming along at full speed, probably not wanting to slow down enough and risk being attacked. Steep inclines mean that heavier vehicles can get stuck. The road is a major trade route and therefore attracts the attention of Taliban fighters. The area in which they operate is known as the Valley of Death. So many people have been killed there that there's no official death toll. The locals have simply lost count. Number 2. Zoji La Pass, India. Runner-up on this list goes to Zoji La Pass in India, a narrow dirt road that winds through the highest mountain range in the world. At an elevation of over 11,500 feet, there are no barriers to stop cars from falling off the edge. Drivers experience extreme weathers which makes staying on track all the more difficult, especially in winter when the pass is often closed or drivers have to navigate through thick walls of ice. There are no traffic signs on the road, which zigzags through the mountain, so it's a pretty much free-for-all on a slippery ledge. Frequent landslides and avalanches can leave travelers stranded for long periods of time. Originally built in 1947 for military use, very few measures have been taken to improve the safety since then. However, in 2018, the Indian government did announce plans to build a tunnel as an alternative route. Number 1. North Yungas Road, Bolivia. Taking the crown as our number 1 is the North Yungas Road in Bolivia, known fittingly as the Road of Death. This 49.7-mile trip through the Bolivian mountains will have you clinging to the edge of your seat for dear life. The narrow trail features vertical drops of up to 3,000 feet into the Amazon rainforest below. Motorists must also navigate over 200 hairpin turns, upping the difficulty factor considerably. Landslides, rockfalls, fog, rain, and a clear lack of guardrails all contribute to the dangerous climb to the heights of over 15,000 feet above sea level. The Road of Death famously featured on the BBC's popular Top Gear show when presenter Jeremy Clarkson had a very close call and came inches of toppling over the edge of the mountain himself. Sides of the road are adorned with crosses where drivers have fallen to their death over the years, and there's plenty of footage online of accidents that have occurred on the route. This is not a road for the faint of heart and is certainly one that most of us would never want to drive on. Do you know anyone who has traveled along these roads? Which do you think would be the scariest? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, show your support by leaving a thumbs up and subscribing to the channel. We're kinda glad we don't have to drive anywhere right now, but we do have to leave you until next time. So thanks for watching, stay safe, and we'll see you again soon.